So, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of our IC Day Tuesday. Our special guest for today is an honorary fellow and Dr. Fellow of Royal Institution, Singapore. She is a commissioner at the Professional Regulation Commission of the Philippines. She specializes in architectural design and facility planning. She obtained her bachelor's degree in architecture and her master in architecture from the University of Santo Tomas. She completed her PhD academic unit at the School of Urban Regional Planning of the University of the Philippines. She was the Dean of the University of Santo Tomas College of Architecture and Fine Arts for the period of 9 years, during which the time achieved the status of Center of Excellence from the Commission Higher Education of the Philippines. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome Honorable Dr. Fellow Architect Yolanda David Reyes. Hi, ma'am. Thank you for joining us today.
Hello, yes, I'm very glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Georgina. Thank you also. Nice to see you.
So the goal of this interview series is to open up the discourse surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic. We want to reiterate that the COVID-19 pandemic continues to have huge effects on the current state of the world. So even though we are isolated from each other, we hope that through proper communication of pertinent information, we can be better informed, aware, and mindful of the situation. Ayun, so we at RI strongly believe that proper knowledge can begin right at home by connecting to our very own pool of talented members. So this RI T-Day Tuesday interview series hopes to bring together innovative thinkers and pioneers from over 300 RI institutes to share their own specialized knowledge about the world today. Or how is the COVID situation in your place, ma'am?
Well, we're actually, most of us are really taking it very seriously. Of course, we have to, but our work are being hampered in a way because we have to ask our employees to work at home. But somehow we will be able to cope up with what we have to do, and as long as we target some completions on specific dates. But for the Philippine, that's for the professional practice of architecture now, because that's what I can do now, because I have more time being able to check some of the projects that are ongoing, and for the Professional Regulation Commission, we have done also our part in making sure that the professionals will have a better and easier way of practicing their professions. So first of all, we actually extended the validity of the licenses of all the professionals. So they don't have to renew their license during this pandemic lockdown, or what we call the enhanced community quarantine, which will eventually become a general community quarantine. So they will just have to wait, and as soon as the lockdown is lifted, then they can do their easy way of renewing their licenses. Because we also will be coming up very soon. Maybe this will be out also to the public, how we will be making it easy for our professionals to renew in a way that we will be extending the undertaking, wherein they can just sign an undertaking and just indicate there that they will be getting all the rest of the credit points that they need in the future. And with this advisory, we will also be coming up on how they can get credit points while at home. So we will be asking also our providers through the boards, through our regulatory boards, on how to come up with some new normal situations for professionals in order for them to get the credit points that they need in order to renew their license. So we would like to encourage our providers to come up with online learning, and if there are also some ways where they can where they can test the learning experience or learning outcomes from the students, then that will earn more points. But there will also be other ways of accrediting points, such as maybe if you have read a book or some books or what you have learned during this COVID-19 pandemic experience, then you just write that down, and we will renewal will be there, renewal of your license will be there. But that experience or that submission that you did would be given or forwarded to the respective councils. So they will be given accordingly the points that they deserve. And also, we are very thankful to all our frontliners. So we are giving them credit points, being as frontliners. So those who are, especially those in the medical fields, or those who are in the checkpoints, or in people who are doing psychology work, or many professionals who are also participating in the corporate social responsibility, or what we call the Commission Social Responsibility. There are also there will be some credit points that will be attributed to them. Several years back, a couple of years back, we created this corporate social responsibility for PRC, and which we call the Commission Social Responsibility. And this time, we created the task force, and there were some people who contributed or provided the financial requirements of this project, and we were able to get almost, if I can just put it in US dollars, it's over 100,000 US dollars. And we were able to donate a lot of protective personal equipment, and gloves and masks, and even tents for 15 beds to hospitals who will be needing more space for so that they can use it for isolation purposes. So we're doing our share. We're trying to do our share, and we just want to make our frontliners have that smile where they can just say, oh, somehow, at least it's not just risking our lives. It's not just serving others. It's not just fulfilling our oath to help in times like this, but somehow the PRC remembered us by giving credit points. So somehow this will really put smiles in their faces. Yeah.
Well, thank you and congratulations for that initiatives po.
Yes, if I can also add, now professionals can also do their work. They can also submit their one-page reiteration or explanation of their professional work experience. So what they have done during this COVID-19 lockdown, and that will be already submitted to our councils, and they will evaluate that and give the corresponding points. So we're trying all the best that we can do to make it very easy for our professionals. But again, maybe this will be a good venue or platform where we can invite our providers and the schools to come up again with learnings that could be very accessible to our professionals. Because for a long time we will not be allowed to have conferences, seminars, and the like.
Thank you for the update.
as an architect and a public servant, what are the things from your field that you could apply to prevent the spreading of this virus?
All right, for being an architect, for one thing, I think all the architectural firms, engineering firms, and many other firms or establishments can do some assignments only for their employees. They can assign them to work from home, and they will just expect some work, and then it could be submitted to them, maybe physically if it is allowed already. But now we are okay with our electronic exchanges. There is some difficulty, but somehow we are able to get what we want to achieve. And for construction, the construction is not also allowed, so there's really zero construction output at this time. But I guess if we really go back to the normal or the new normal, we just have to really wear that mask and follow the 1 meter or 2 meter or 6 feet, as they would say, the distancing, social distancing or physical distancing. But for PRC, when we go back, I think we might be going back on May 18 because May 15 is a Friday. So I am proposing that we would have rapid testing of all our employees so that we will know who will be allowed to work and who have to go back to their respective homes, because we must know who are really, we have to test, and then we have to identify and then isolate, and then those who need the isolation or those who have been tested positive, they can have the swab in the swabbing in the centers, and then they just have to be treated if they are positive. But so that's one program that I would want to pursue. If we will not have budget for this, because I'm trying to get a budget from our activities that were postponed or canceled because of this COVID-19. But again, we are in dire need. The Philippine government as a whole is in dire need of funds now to be able to cope up with our needs for all the peoples of our citizenry. So we might be getting funds from the CSR funding that we were able to put up. I already requested the task force head for that, Honorable Engineer Jolly Borja. He's a mechanical engineer, he's very good. So I said, better put, actually that is his idea, to do some testing. So I said, yes, we have to do that. We have to do that. So I said, if we will not be able to get some funds from the government, then we must get from our donated budget.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very happy to see that the sky is very clear. We can see that trees are really blooming. You can see a lot of greens around, and I think we're just trying to. I think, as I always would say, Mother Earth is just trying to ask for a little more time to regain, to improve our environment.
Mm-hmm. Yes, po. So, my next question is, we recognize that this pandemic has affected all sectors drastically. Would you share some of your realizations, discernments as to how this pandemic affected individuals, families, government, our country, and our economy?
Well, on the positive note, on the positive side of it, I would say that families were able to get together without any reason for going out or being here or there, but they just have to be together. And like in our case, because my 3 children are all in Canada, we would have we will have group prayers. We would have prayers together with my in-laws who are also in Canada, and some of my family members of my husband who are here. We would do a Zoom praying the rosary, and we have done that for like maybe in the last 2 weeks already, 10 days to 2 weeks. And we will continue to do so while we are in lockdown, because they're also not allowed to go out. And then after the prayers, we would have a group chat, and everybody enjoys everybody's jokes. And this is as if we're all together in one place. So that's the positive side, and I think it really also makes us realize that our life is really dependent on somebody up there, and we really have to we just have to recognize our situations, that whatever we can do now in a situation like this, that you're just in your house, then you do what you can, just maximize all the things that you can do. Like in my case, and most of my friends and colleagues, what they're doing is cleaning all their cabinets, cleaning all the house, and trying to dispose of what they do not need anymore. And what they will do next, like what I will do, is donate it to our less fortunate brethren. So and then it's also time. There's also a lot of time for me and my husband, for example, to talk about life, to talk about some more about future. Although we are already in our 60s, mid-60s, we are still talking about future, especially our children. So these are the things that we've never really done before, seriously. Like we would, because you're so much in a hurry, so many things. And this time also, I was able to, and like most of my friends, do some exercise. So I exercise and pray and chat with friends, and at the same time also do some work for PRC and for my personal practice. So and for the government, I think the government is also very, very, what I see is there is a lot of cooperation. There's a lot of commitment on the part of those who really have to do it, like our mayors and our secretaries who are members of the core group of the AIATF. And so I think this is what they're saying now. They said that we heal as one. So since we see that you can go anytime. See, because we were so surprised with so many people who are recognized people of great achievements, and we just succumbed to COVID. And so we're saying, you see, we can go anytime at any given point in time. So I guess, and I hope that this was also realized by our government officials, that politics now does not have any place in this situation. We must work as one. We must really do our best to really go to the farthest that we can go to, like the poorest of the poor. We can see now that some mayors are really working very hard. And I think this is the time that you can really show your constituents why you are a mayor, why you are a public servant. And so, because there are some people who are saying, they're trying to call their mayors and they're saying, Mayor, please come to our place. We want to see you now, and we do not want to see you only during campaign period. So I guess it's also a point for our government officials, both elected and appointed like us. We're trying to see how we can just try to see how you can contribute in your very small way. maybe the evil, the economics, we can say that the negative part is that our economy is the one that is compromised. So it's compromised, and we can see that a lot are really trying to waiting so much, no, and trying to gear up on what is going to happen. That's the sad part of it. But nonetheless, we cannot really sacrifice health. I guess we really just have to emphasize that health is wealth. Even if we cannot really say, okay, let's stop this lockdown because we need to let our economy going without any proven ways on how to stop the pandemic. I guess it's a very false move. We will just spread, and then we will see a lot of deaths, and we also do not know how economy will move if that is the direction of the public health and public actions.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. So thank you for that. Thank you for elaborating that one. So my next question is, since many companies, many organizations, government offices have now transitioned to work from home or online, also many reputable universities are forced to hold classes online, and other fields related, they do everything online. So in your expert opinion, how will the future trends of professions or professionals be affected and influenced by the current situation?
Yes, I think this will be the new normal that we're all talking about. That we have to be computer literate. We all have to be computer literate. Like us, we very much depend on people who work for us or our children before. So we just say, okay, you connect me, and then I'm connected. Okay, you do this, then that's it. But now I guess we really have to be computer literate. We have to be very much attuned with this will be the new normal. So number one, we have to understand and be friend with our computer or our telephone or our this equipment, and then we have to really come up with online communications, meaning, for example, for organizations, they just have to meet by Zoom or by telecommunications like this one. And for learning, like schools, for example, schools and our continuing professional development programs, they just have to be very, very be understandable, and they can be they just have to be revolutionized, meaning that there should also be a quality assurance mechanism that has to be in place so that we do not compromise or sacrifice the learning outcomes, especially for the students. So I think those are very important issues. And that's why, as I said earlier, let's do online learning, online quality assurance mechanisms and measurements.
Yeah. So thank you for that. Earlier, you mentioned that the Earth is healing. So news on climate change has shown that in only a few weeks of the different lockdowns in many countries, our Earth has changed drastically due to the lessening of pollution from cars and public transportation. Also, experts say that this might be a positive effect of the global pandemic because, again, our Earth is healing. So what do you believe we as human beings with a carbon footprint should contribute to sustainability at this pandemic?
Well, for us, especially for architects, maybe, and for the technologists, the architects, the engineers, and the environmental planners, we just have to make sure that building footprints becomes very smaller, meaning so that we don't have to really be covering up a lot of the earth, so to speak. And I think, yes, we just have to make sure that carbon emission is also being addressed, because there, especially in construction, we contribute a lot of carbon emission. And but I also say that we must have to counter that, because we just have to counter that so that we continue to develop as well. We continue to move forward. So for us architects, we can say that let's not put concrete on all of the earth, on all of the property of the person who's asking us to develop. Let's put, of course, there are laws that would tell us that you can only build this much percentage of building footprint in this property. But I would say that we go more than what is restricted from us, so that we contribute there. But how do we counter the carbon emissions? Well, let's do it by planting trees. I think that's the least that we can do as an individual. Let us plant trees. Let us try to move the soil. You can see that there are a lot of dried soil already when it is, especially during the La Nina period. And El Nino is drying, or I'm now confused. But anyway, during the dry period, we can see a lot of, really, if you look around Sobra, and we don't even do our part, like try to till it a little, or try to water it, so just doing a part of small part as an individual will already contribute a lot if most of us will do that.
Yes po. Thank you. So COVID-19 has greatly affected many lives, and it has challenged not just physically, but also mentally, psychologically, economically, and spiritually. What words of wisdom would you tell everybody to inspire and motivate them to keep on living, and that we shall surpass this pandemic?
Well, as I said earlier, there are good points that also came out from this lockdown or this pandemic. But aside from that, we have to realize, I think this pandemic taught us that we may be very, very healthy at this point, but you cannot foresee, or you cannot really say that you're very safe health-wise, assuming that there will be no accidents involved. So it's really something. It's really a phenomenon that things like this can happen. But they said, of course, in readings, this has happened before already. May mga plagues, may mga epidemics, and all that. But this one is really worldwide. And what's happening here in the East is also happening there in the West. So it's really something that the world has been awakened somehow, and the world leaders must have to really be sensitive to these issues in the most serious way. And I think for us ordinary citizens, let's just try to do our small way on how to help in this pandemic. Number one, don't go out. You just follow the rules of the government. Just follow, and then wear mask if you have to. Like in our case, we just ask our driver to go out and do all the errands, and as soon as the driver comes home, before he even comes inside the house, he will have to do all the cleaning up, and of course with all the protective gears that should be in place. And let's take advantage of being together as a family, is more than anything else. You pray together, you talk to each other, you laugh together, you enjoy your old photographs. That's also one of the things that I have been doing. I look at the old photographs, and we would laugh together, and I would take pictures of some of them and send it to people who are in those photographs. So you just try to make other people give a smile to other people in this pandemic period every day, and just ensure that you have not forgotten to ask the Lord to help us in this situation, and that's what we need to do. Just make sure that and you believe that there's somebody up there who is really who will never forsake us. This will end. We do not know when, but just make sure that we do the best of what we can while we are in this lockdown, and prayer, do your physical requirements, do your spiritual and mental requirements. All this, I think, would be very beneficial during this lockdown, and which we could have not done if there were office, if there were some places to go, commitments to attend. So just make sure that you do, and still maximize the time that is given to you.
All right. Thank you very much, ma'am. So what's the first thing you're excited about after the lockdown or quarantine days?
Well, I think I want to go out and eat my favorite food. That's one. And maybe I want to meet some colleagues and friends. I just because it's going to be prohibited still, I suppose. But those are the things that I would like to do. And also, I would like to visit and go to mass already. Although the church is very near, we have a church here very near us. We would actually sneak out and at least once we went to church and just visit and did some prayers there. So yun lang, just be very prayerful and you will not be forsaken.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. Mr. Jean, do you have any questions?
Oh, no. Thank you, Commissioner Reyes, for sharing those advice and also about how to keep their faith strong in this time, and an uplifting message on how, we should take care of ourselves. Like we were talking earlier with Dr. Salvador about exercise and all that. So it's good that you brought it up because, we can maximize this time that we have and come out of it healthier and mentally, spiritually stronger. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for this interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you for joining us. So we know that many are isolated in their homes at this time. So we hope that through this T-Day Tuesday, we can bring hope when most needed and cheer when most wanted. So thank you for joining us today, and thank you to our special guest again, Commissioner Reyes, ma'am. We thank you for your continued support for our ICE activities, and we hope you will stay safe, healthy, and well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, po.
Yes, God bless you.
God bless you. Bye-bye.